Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I am at APEX 2025. I'm in the Creative Electron booth and I'm joined by Allison from Out of the Box Manufacturing. Allison, great to see you again. We chatted last year.
Yes.
What's been going on in the last 12 months with you guys?
A lot of the same and a lot of different things as well. There's just been a lot of change in the industry. So trying to find our way and staying true to what we do best.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And we are in this position where things are moving really fast in terms of tariffs, in terms of what we see geopolitically, what we see in terms of the economy here in the US. So there's a lot of change to deal with. It's important to stay true to your mission.
Yeah.
But I think what everybody's trying to do is bring some manufacturing back to the US. It's been gone for quite a long time, so that's had its own impact. Are you seeing stuff coming back? Are you seeing maybe less stuff leaving? What's the trend you're seeing with your customers?
I think it's a little bit early to say for sure, but I do think that there is an openness to have a conversation where maybe some customers weren't interested in having that conversation before, just because they had a preconceived expectation that stateside shops wouldn't be competitive price-wise. But I think that people are more interested in having that conversation now.
Yeah, and do you think there's still a delay in making decisions around that conversation because they're not sure what's going to be happening south of the border, for example?
Absolutely. I see some hesitancy, but we can only wait for so long before we have to do what's right for our businesses with the information that we have today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I expect people will still start to move forward with what they need.
Yeah, and are you seeing growth generally at the moment in the markets you operate in?
There's a fair sense of optimism.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay, and if we do see a manufacturing renaissance and some substantial growth in the US, is that something that can be managed in terms of talent resources, for example?
Well, I think that when we talk about reshoring or more manufacturing in the U.S., it's a good thing, right? And I think that we would all like that to happen. But you're right, there is a lot that needs to happen in between to actually make us successful in that space. So talent is a concern, certainly, but capacity as well. So I think with a combination of some of the tools that we are seeing really accelerating, like AI, I think our industry is really just on the cusp of figuring out how to use that tool very effectively in what we do. So if we can eliminate some of the non-value added processes by allowing AI to do that work and then focusing our personnel and our training efforts on the high technology or the more difficult part of what we do, then we can be more successful.
Yeah, so do you see the key to success there? Growing your capacity, growing your sales volume with the same headcount?
I don't know that it would be the same headcount, but I do think that we would be able to do more while hiring less semi-skilled potentially, right? Or being able to more quickly grow from within as well. Yeah. So you're still going to be hiring, but I think that the hiring is maybe going to look a little bit different. Instead of, say, throw people at the problem, I think that is not something that we'll do in the future. Yeah,
bring people in that can solve the problem rather than put a lot of people on the factory floor.
Yeah.
Is that something you're specifically looking at here at APEX this week? Are you looking for automation and AI solutions?
Absolutely, not just a solution, but talking to my peers in the industry too about what they are finding successful, what they're curious about as well.
Yeah, and a great place to do that was Monday's EMS Leadership Summit. Tell me a bit about the people there and the problems they're seeing. Was there a commonality in terms of that talent issue? I know your keynote was on the topic of talent, the automation issue. I know you had a panel on AI.
Yeah, it's always wonderful to go to an event like the EMS Summit and be able to talk to your peers. You can open up a little bit more because you're separated by geography, but it's very comforting to hear that a lot of us still face the same challenges, but we have a lot of advice to offer as well. I met one of my peers that wanted to get into the medical device space, and Out of the Box tried to do that for a while, and we decided it wasn't a good fit for us, but I was able to give him some feedback based on my experience that will hopefully help him be more successful. So there's a lot of really great sharing that way too.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense. You know, when I look at the EMS industry, every single EMS company is unique, but the same. You know, it's kind of curious, isn't it? They all have nuances. They all have different challenges. So the apart from automation, there was a lot of discussion about talent. You had Audrey McGuckin speaking, and then you had a bit of a roundtable. I love that you have a very interactive environment there. How did that go?
Great. And I think one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we get on the steering committee is that people want more of the networking time. That is really, really powerful. So if we compare bringing some experts in to give us, you know, tidbits of valuable information, and then executives can sit around the table and bat that around, you know, and include their shared experiences, that's really powerful to help us all grow. There's plenty of work for all of us, you know, and I think that we do better to serve our customers broadly and to elevate the industry broadly if we all work together.
Yeah, I think that theory that a rising tide lifts all boats is really powerful in this industry, and it's something that should be worked on. I noticed you had some European leadership there, which was really exciting. Was it nice to get a kind of a slightly different viewpoint, kind of the US from the outside rather than just the inside?
Absolutely, yeah. And when you talk about talent development, I think that's one of the things that is really valuable to learn from as well. You know, we had some representatives from Germany, and Germany has a great history of apprenticeships so it's really, really interesting to hear different perspectives globally about how they tackle the workforce issue.
Yeah, well, Allison, I love what you're doing out of the box, but I love even more the work you're doing with the Leadership Council. I think that's really important and really valuable. So thank you for that, and thank you for your time.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.